Diego Maradona passed away on November 25th, 2020, and following his death, André Villas-Boas, the Marseille manager, suggested perhaps FIFA should put a worldwide retirement on the number 10. And before you ask the question, no, this is really not a explain video about the life of Maradona, because you couldn't explain his life in 10 minutes, 10 weeks, 10 months, and perhaps even 10 years. But the number 10 is perhaps a little bit important here, because Argentina once tried to retire the number 10. And then something odd happened. And I'll try to explain. Diego Maradona officially retired in 1997, but his sort of farewell party didn't happen until 2001 in Latin American culture, and especially in South America. You have something called the despedida, which is sort of similar to a tribute, but it's more sort of a celebration of life, in which Maradona had fielded a World 11 against an Argentina 11. And it was quite emotional, and everyone was rather upset at it. And Maradona had the famous La pelota no se mancha speech, which hit a lot of people quite hard, because it was sort of a reflection upon the life and times of Maradona, that it had been a lot of hardship. But prior to this, Julio Grondona, the president, or the former president rather, of the Argentinian Football Federation, had stated that no player would ever wear the number 10 again for Argentina. And this was in 2001. He didn't want anyone to, take to the field wearing the iconic number, because the 10 was for Maradona. Not even youth teams were supposed to wear it, and the decision was sort of applauded in Argentina. Everyone was happy about it. But one entity that wasn't too happy about it were FIFA. Now, as I said, Argentina decided to retire the number, and they didn't play with it for the World Cup qualifiers, at least for a stint during the World Cup qualifiers. But according to FIFA regulations, when you're to hand in your list of players, you have 1 to 23, meaning that the numbers 1 to 23 are eligible. When Argentina picked their 23-man squad for the 2002 World Cup in Korea and Japan, there wasn't a number 10, rather there was a number 24. Now, FIFA flat rejected this. They didn't want anything to do with that. They stated to Argentina, you need to pick a number 10. We're not going to allow you to play with a number 24. Hence, it was against the rules. And Argentina didn't exactly know what to do. They had officially retired the number 10. No one was supposed to play with it anymore. The idea then came that perhaps the third choice goalkeeper, Roberto Bonanno, should wear the number 10, or rather have the number 10. Now, a third choice goalkeeper, how often does he really play during a tournament? I mean, there's not quite often that a first choice goalkeeper gets injured. And what are the odds of the first and the second choice being injured in the same tournament? It has happened, and even Argentina had the problems during the 2018 World Cup, where several of their goalkeepers got injured. Sergio Romero to name the first one, and they had someone else injured. Anyways, this is besides the point, and I do digress. But the idea was that the number 10 was never supposed to be worn again for Argentina. This is sort of where Sepp Blatter has a bit of a faux pas, because he states that if Argentina elects a goalkeeper to wear the number 10, then it's sort of ironic that finally the number 10 of Argentina can use his hands, obviously referencing the hand of God from the 1986 World Cup. Argentina aren't too bemused by this, and they decide that Ariel Ortega, who wore the number 10 in the 1998 World Cup, is also to wear it at the 2002 World Cup. Ortega was also the understudy to Diego Maradona in the 1994 World Cup, which was Maradona's final World Cup, and was perhaps the first, I'm not sure if it was the first, but it was one of many that was hailed as the new Maradona. There were several things about this World Cup that was kind of odd. First and foremost, Argentina were the big favorites, and they had a fantastic squad, and Maradona was supposed to work on Argentinian television as an analyst, but considering his run-in with the law in relation to drugs, he was not allowed to travel into Japan. He was allowed to travel into South Korea. But every single one of the group stage games that Argentina played at the 2002 World Cup were played in Japan, meaning that Maradona was not allowed to go. And as we now know, and as history unfolded itself, Argentina were eliminated after the group stages. What wasn't eliminated, however, was the number 10. The number 10 was then passed down in 2006, which is this shirt that I'm wearing now, with the number 10, to Juan Román Riquelme, who wore it, as Argentina were eliminated by Germany in the World Cup that was played in Germany. And in 2010, to a certain guy or certain player who's become to known as perhaps the real heir to Maradona, Lionel Messi. The interesting part is, at the 2010 World Cup, the Argentina manager was named Diego Maradona. And as we now know, 2014, 2018, Lionel Messi keeps wearing the number 10. And Argentina have sort of given the number 10 the significance it needs to have. And they haven't retired it, meaning that the legacy lives on, despite Maradona not being here with us anymore. Now, Diego Maradona passed away on November 25th, 2020, as I said, and as you probably already know. And with it, a piece of people's childhood died with it. Now, I was born in 1992, and I wasn't there to see Maradona in all his pride and all his glory, I suppose. But I've heard the stories, seen the documentaries, and rewatched the matches. But I haven't been able to experience the elusiveness, the joyful and carefree vision to life and to football that Maradona carried with him. And perhaps for a lot of people, reality hit a little bit harder and the world became a little bit colder. And though a piece of them died, a legacy lives on in a shirt number. So if we look back upon it, perhaps it was good that Argentina weren't allowed to retire the number 10, because with the number 10, a player lives on. With it, a legacy will never ever die, because you will always see the number 10 for Argentina. And at least me, even though I'm not of the same generation, I will always think of one player, Diego Armando Maradona. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. And again, if you enjoyed it, then yes, you know where I'm going. There are subscription buttons and like buttons and so forth and so on. And I hope that you take the time to press all of them and maybe leave a comment. Maybe you'd like me to explain or talk about something else. Feel free to suggest it. I do actually read all the comments. Anywho, I'll see you in the next one, and thank you for watching.